In today's video, we have an arena battle between every era of Ultimate Epic Battle Simulator 2 combat. Team 1 is Modern Soldiers, with 50,000 troops total, including modern M4 soldiers, ghillie suit snipers, M1 Abrams, as well as Russian BTRs on the battlefield. Team 2 is the Ancient Armies. They have Egyptian spearmen, Spartan warriors, Roman soldiers, and Roman archers. In total, they have 2.5 million troopers. The medieval armies also have 2.5 million soldiers, with English spearmen as well as crossbowmen, European footmen over this way, and heavy knights from the Crusades. Finally, Team 4 is the Gunpowder era with approximately 400,000 soldiers, including Ottoman officers, American line battle soldiers from the Continental Army, French Army soldiers, and British Redcoats. All of these different armies are going to be clashing here in Egypt and fighting to the death. We'll have to see who ends up being victorious. If you guys do enjoy this video, please be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and comment down below. Now let's get into it. What's up, gamers? I'm here to tell you about Instant Gaming. Instant Gaming is an amazing place where you can get some fire deals on all sorts of video games. Seriously, it's like 60 to 95% off, as you can see here. These are all of the Star Wars titles they have. They literally have every Star Wars title. You can also get XCOM here, Men of War Assault Squad 2. All of the games I play on the channel you can buy here for extremely cheap prices. If you use my affiliate link in the description, it helps me out a ton. So thank you guys for listening to this sponsorship, and thank you to Instant Gaming for continuing to sponsor the channel. Alrighty then, boys, pressing start right now. Please be sure to hit that like button, boys. It helps me out tremendously. Now let's see what ends up going down. So over here on the left we have the medieval units, and they are full scale charging the ancient units at the moment. Both of these have 2.5 million because I tried to do some basic balancing of all sides here. So obviously, medieval and ancient are going to be the weakest. They do have some long-range stuff, but for the most part, it's all close quarters combat. Swords, shields, the whole shebang. So right now, they're all clashing right here and getting at each other pretty good. And then on the opposite side, over this way, we have the modern soldiers ripping into a few of these guys here. Looks like we've got Egyptian spearmen charging them, but the modern soldiers are currently very, very capable of holding them back. I mean, after all, they got guns. What are you gonna do against guns? It's a little bit tricky, just a wee bit tricky, if you know what I mean. So, yeah, these guys might be charging, but they are getting beaten back relentlessly at the moment, and it is going to be fairly easy for these guys to keep this up for the time being until those archers, Roman archers, come in to interfere. We've also got modern soldiers over here, though, firing away at some redcoat soldiers. Now, the redcoats, of course, have bullets themselves, which is going to be a little bit harder for the modern soldiers to keep up against. They obviously have better guns, but you can see actually quite a number of modern soldiers over this way are in fact dying, which is a very, very big W for the Redcoats. Not so much for the modern soldiers, of course, but hopefully they can continue to take out some of these Redcoats, though, yeah, this is a very small contingency of modern soldiers. Do they have any of the snipers? No, not with them here. There are ghillie suit snipers sort of throughout the desert here, though. Okay, good to see. And then where are the tanks at? Oh, okay, so the M1 Abrams went forward this way, so did the BTR. So pretty much all of the modern force, minus a few soldiers, decided to go for the ancient army troopers over here. And the modern soldiers already are at 82,000 kills, which is pretty impressive. They have 44,000 soldiers remaining. The ancient soldiers over here are at 68,000, now 69,000 kills, and they have taken not too many losses. They've got 2.48 million troopers remaining, and the medieval soldiers only have 12,000 kills, and they are at 2.45 million soldiers remaining. Although it seems like they sent their weakest units against the ancient army over here, aka the footmen, and the medieval English spearmen, who are far better, as well as the heavy knights, are mostly concentrating on the gunpowder era over this way, where we've got U.S. Continental Army soldiers, We've got the Redcoat Musketeers right here, and the Ottoman officers over this way with their pistols, which is pretty cool to see. And you can see these medieval knights charging in here and getting gunned down pretty rapidly. So right now, the ancient army is dealing with modern US guns, and the medieval army is dealing with older, but still more modern guns. So it's a little bit of everything going on this battlefield at the moment, which is exactly what we wanted to see. Place your bets in the comments, boys. I would love to hear who you guys are rooting for / who you think is going to win, because it's not always who you want to win, who you think is going to win. Personally, I would actually not be surprised if the medieval or ancient units managed to carry out a W here. Having such an advantage in terms of numbers could be a really, really big deal. I think I'm rooting for the medieval units to win, although it is kind of unlikely, but I think they could win. Who I think is going to win is probably going to be the gunpowder units, because they have numbers over the modern units, as well as just, really good weaponry. Although the modern units could easily win as well. But I think the modern units might be one of those units that sort of burns bright, but very quick. You know, they might end up getting a lot of kills very fast, and that is the truth right now, as they have 267,000 kills already. Now 270,000 kills, double the next level, which is the gunpowder units with 145,000 kills. So yeah, obviously, modern units I think will burn very bright, but I think they could potentially peter out fairly quickly afterwards, especially over here where now Roman archers are starting to fire into them. They do have armor, so they are able to deflect some of the archer fire, but not all of it, which is kind of problematic, and it seems like they are dying out over here. There's 40,000 of them remaining, meaning they've taken about 10,000 losses thus far, but within those 10,000 losses, they've managed to get 340,000 kills, which is an incredible number of kills, and they'll continue to get crazy amounts of kills throughout this battlefield for the time being at the very least. And they've still got lots of tanks too, and the BTRs as well, which will be very, very helpful in getting kills. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure if they'll have the legs to actually get the W in total here. Both the ancient and the medieval units are both down to about 2.1 million soldiers remaining, so they've kind of evened out their stats here, and they are just in a very long line of sword fighting and spear fighting over this way. Just a hodgepodge of units all tearing at each other and just going to town, baby. Just absolute demolition. I kind of love to see that. That is pretty fun. I'm not gonna lie. That's pretty fun. Ooh, but the gunpowder units over there might be coming into the flanks of the modern units over this way, which would be really, really bad for them. And then the gunpowder units over here against the medieval units are chopping them down pretty good too. We'll just have to see. We really will just have to see. Why don't we go ahead and time-lapse these modern units here and see if those gunpowder units do come in at their flanks. Right now, the modern units have almost 500,000 kills, which is the most. The ancient units have 280,000. The medieval units are in last with about 100,000, and the gunpowder units have 300,000. Pretty crazy, these number discrepancies here, but everyone's still definitely gotten a definite shot at this battle. So let's go with our first time lapse here. Alright boys, modern soldiers still in this thing, but they've only got 22k left. I'm actually kind of proud of them for managing to hang in there. They're up to 1 million kills now, so they've doubled up their kill count. Actually, almost everyone has doubled up their kill count. The gunpowder units are coming into their flanks, though, here, and so a few of them are having to turn around and start gun down these gunpowder units. But the gunpowder units, you know, they're not super powerful at flanking unless they're in mass, like over here, where they're able to do a lot more damage. So that's going to be an interesting development over this way. Do they have any tanks left? Yes, there are BTRs as well as M1 Abrams left alive, which is good. The ancient army over here is dwindling considerably. I mean, the body piles here are absolutely incredible. The Spartans are trying their best. The Egyptians are trying their best, but it's very tough. I think right now the Roman archers that are like sort of in this mix here are the only ones really doing anything worthwhile to help out. Over here, we've got, of course, more ancient armies still going head-to-head. with the medieval armies. And these medieval men-at-arms, I think, are finally doing better than the footmen were, but we've got arrows coming through the sky at the medieval units. We've got some going towards the ancient units as well, so a lot of death going on over here. So right now, the ancient units have 557,000 kills, the medieval units have almost 400,000 kills, and both have about 1.1 million soldiers remaining, although the medieval units do actually have 1.2 million remaining, so that's not... it's a bit of a discrepancy there. The ancient units have more kills, but a few less soldiers now. Medieval units are still going up against all of these different gunpowder units over here, but they've got archers now in the mix. So the archers, or rather the crossbowmen, let's see if we can find some. Yeah, here's a few here. You can see them. They're trying to get some kills against these gunpowder units, obviously. I don't think they're doing fantastic at it. Hopefully they can do a little bit better as time goes on, but for now they're not doing great. They're trying their best. They're trying their best, though. We've got more men-at-arms and stuff like that coming up over here, where we've got just crazy, crazy body piles that have developed over this way. I mean, look at this. This used to be all the way down to here, and now it's climbed up all the way up here. So that's some pretty crazy body pile action there. Lots of these Ottoman officers are doing pretty well for themselves, I will say. Apparently they're a pretty decent unit. They got 500 health, which is nothing to scoff at, but there are a number of them dead, but they're doing well. They're doing quite well. So this medieval charge over here is definitely getting cut down. Currently, in terms of numbers, there's still 290,000 of the... whoa. Wait. Did the ancient soldiers just drop to 250,000 troopers in like an instant? No, that's a 9. Oh my god. I thought it was a 2. It's hard to see because my recording overlay is over it. Okay, so they're at like 900,000 soldiers, not 200,000. Very big difference. All right. So right now, the ancient armies have 927,000 soldiers. Medieval armies have 1,060,000 soldiers. The gunpowder units have 280,000, and the modern units have about 8,500. So it does seem like the gunpowder units are currently kind of taking the lead here. They're doing pretty well, which is definitely intimidating. And the modern units here, just unlucky, got really badly flanked, and I think that's why they're doing so poorly right now. But they are at 1.3 million kills, which is extremely impressive stuff. But it is going to be pretty hard to deal with these gunpowder units. The gunpowder units honestly have had a fairly easy time. They had only like 2,000 modern soldiers over this way attack them, and then they were able to basically just come in the flanks of the modern soldiers over here and hit them in the rear. So they only had one actual threat to them, which was the medieval units over here, and the medieval units have done a good job of knocking them down. I think they contributed heavily to the 130,000 dead gunpowder units, but even still, the gunpowder units really did not have to deal at all with a true fight from the modern units. So the gunpowder units basically just skated around their main nemesis here and flanked them. And I mean, to be honest, that's a big part in fault of the modern units. So they definitely choked that one a little bit by only sending a small portion to deal with the gunpowder units. But I think that's contributing to why the gunpowder units are in such a good place right now. Modern units down to 2,000 soldiers over here. So they're basically going to die out. And the modern units will be out of this running for sure. I don't think they've got it in them to survive for too much longer, but at the very least, you know what, they've got so many kills, 1.32 million kills. They've done a real bang-up job of attempting to stay in this thing for as long as possible, but I just don't think they're going to have it in them. But over here, now we do have the ancient units fighting against the gunpowder units over this way, so that's actually good to see. All right, so we got Spartans coming up here and stabbing a whole lot of these gunpowder units. Very nice. Okay, that's definitely a bonus. That's definitely a bonus right there. And this is like the small pocket of modern resistance currently going on. 1,300 soldiers for them currently. Maybe they'll survive for a little bit longer, but I don't think for very much longer beyond that. We'll see how these ancient units end up doing against these gunpowder units over this way. but there's not that many ancient units left over here because the modern soldiers took almost all of them out. So really the modern soldiers did like all the dirty work for the gunpowder units. It's kind of crazy. And then here we've got the medieval armies fighting against the ancient armies. Arrows getting poured into the medieval army. I'm not seeing, there must not be a lot of crossbows over here because I'm not seeing a lot of arrows returning to the ancient army on the other side. So right now we have 1,100 modern soldiers left alive, 720,000 ancient army soldiers left alive, 880,000 medieval units left alive, and 239,000 of the gunpowder units left alive. Why don't we do a little time lapse of the skirmish going on over here between ancient and medieval, because I think that would be kind of fun to see. Well, the medieval units ended up dominating over here and plowing through a lot of the ancient army. Ancient army is scrambling to recover. They've got a lot of archers here, though, and that's going to be helpful in that recovery, although there's a lot of shields over here and heavy knights, which do have a deflect, so that's going to be rough. We've got more medieval units heading this way, so it looks like the gunpowder units are coming in the flank over this way. That's going to be pretty lethal. We shall see. And it looks like, yeah, the medieval units basically got defeated up here. Now the gunpowder units are free to flank them over this way. And then what's going on over here? What's crack-a-lackin' over this way? Okay, more gunpowder units have been freed over here and are going to be coming in the flanks of the medieval and ancient armies over here. So, I mean, kind of a disappointing result with the gunpowder units. I feel like they cheesed this entire battle with only having to do one real fight. They basically defeated a weakened and flanked modern army. They defeated a weakened and flanked ancient army. And now they are attacking a weakened and flanked medieval army over this way. The only real fight they did was the medieval army over here. So I feel like the gunpowder units really have cheesed almost the entirety of this battle, which is pretty disappointing. Right now, there are 400,000 ancient army soldiers still remaining. There are 500,000 medieval soldiers still remaining, and 180,000 gunpowder units currently remaining. I'm very, very, very curious to see how this ends up going for the gunpowder units, because as you can see, I mean, the medieval units are still coming at them hard. And they're still getting a lot of kills here and mowing through them, especially these English men-at-arms who are just absolute G's with their spears. They're just tossing these guys salads, absolutely throwing the grapes at them. I just made up a saying. And so that's good, but at the same time, there's still so many of them. There's still so many of them. I mean, it's going to be rough. It's going to be real, real rough. And we've got this huge, expansive battle happening up here. Just absolutely crushing numbers. Got all these Romans over here. We got arrows flying both sides now. It feels like the gunpowder units have cheesed half of this battle, and that is kind of frustrating to me. Oh, there's still footmen left alive. Wow. I'm surprised by that. Holy cow. So, I'm a little bit disappointed in that regard, and as you can see, now they're coming in the flanks of these guys, and that sucks. You know, that's going to be brutal. Those flankings are not fun to deal with. They're the cheese unit for sure. I mean, I guess it is partially just kind of luck that they've managed to cheese a lot of this battle, but now they're just having to deal with small waves of forces coming in against them. I mean, it's really easy for the gunpowder units right now. Yeah, that's brutal. That's really, really brutal for the ancient and medieval army here, because they're fighting for their lives over this way and just having to deal with an enemy that is just going to come in one way or another. All right, let's time lapse for a little longer. Oh, boys, barely any of these gunpowder units are dying anymore. They're still at 183,000, and they're actually basically not losing any soldiers. And that's because the medieval army has only just started to pivot their soldiers away from the front lines to attack them. And there's huge gaps between them. Actually, the medieval soldiers are now getting torched. They were ahead of the ancient army in terms of numbers for the longest time until this flank happened, and now they are not. So there's 300,000 ancient army soldiers left alive, and there's only 200,000 medieval army soldiers left alive. Oh no, they're doing the glitch. Oh, I hate that. There's this weird glitch that happens now with certain units. It's very strange. Not all of the units are glitching, but some of them are, so that's a little bit frustrating as well there. But yeah, it just seems like basically the gunpowder units had the easiest time. They didn't even have a great spawn. I mean, everyone was equidistant from each other, so I don't understand how the spawn would help. I think they just got really lucky in like the order of how things ended up going, and that's why they did so well here, for sure. I mean, I think they would have done well in any regard. I think they would have done well no matter what, but the fact that they literally flanked almost every single unit in the game by pure luck really helped them out. I mean, that was just pure godsend for them. Just complete and utter baloney for everyone else, but godsend for them. So right now there's 300,000 ancient army soldiers, 177,000 medieval soldiers, and 183,000 gunpowder units. Let's watch as the gunpowder units come up this hill against the medieval soldiers. Yep, so the flank has basically been fulfilled by the gunpowder units now, and they're just absolutely going to be ravaging the rest of the ancient army as well as the rest of the medieval army. Medieval army numbers basically plummeted to 80,000 soldiers versus 286,000 ancient army soldiers, and that's because the medieval army is, of course, getting flanked hardcore, and the gunpowder units still have 183,000 troops. So it's going to be a gunpowder victory. I'm kind of disappointed in how it came to be, but you know, at least they somewhat deserve it. It's still kind of a bummer, though. Well, boys, that's all she wrote, pretty much. There's apparently 20 medieval units and 20 ancient units left. I think they're kind of glitched or something, or I don't know where they're at, but they're stuck somewhere. And the gunpowder era, the 18th century, boys, manages to get the W. With a little under half of their force remaining. I think it was a weak W, a coward's W. It's like LeBron's Disney Mickey Mouse chip that he won. It's weak. It's not nearly as good as a full W, but they still got it. So comment down below if you were rooting for them or if you were rooting for someone else. And also if you'd like to see another iteration of this, because there's plenty of units in all of these different eras, so I can run it back again and use different 18th century units, use different modern units, use different medieval units, etc, etc. But either way, guys, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Please be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and comment down below. I'll see you on the next one. Peace. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Be sure to click that subscribe button for more content, and hit the notification bell if you'd like to be alerted to whenever I live stream or upload. Thanks so much.